And we are live. Hello everybody. Let's talk a little bit about WordPress 7.0, which will be released in a few months in April. And there are a lot of new cool features that will be included in this WordPress version. But today I would like to focus on the AI features coming in WordPress 7.0. One feature that is especially interesting is this WP AI client, and I would like to talk a little bit more about this and what's the implication of this feature being included in this new major version of WordPress. So let's do a few things. We can open this proposal and we can read about it. But then we can also go to core track tickets. We can go to tickets. We can check the tickets that are planned for the next version of WordPress release. And we can see here all the track issues that are here. We can see, let me see if we can see here only the open ones or also the closed ones. And let me see, maybe the closed ones are the last ones. Let's create new custom query. So these were 206. If we go to new custom query and we say that the milestone is 7.0, so yeah, the other view was for only the open ones, because if we include the closed ones, there are a total of 318 track issues. It makes sense that the other, let me core track, if we check tickets and the next major release, this one. And here we can see how the tickets are grouped by component, and one of the components is AI. So what I'm going to do today is to check these different tickets and see what's coming in the next major WordPress release. One of the tickets is this one, add WP AI client. And if we use a custom query like this one and we add component AI, we can see we have 6 tickets still open, assigned to the AI component. The most interesting ones so far, I think, are this one, at WP AI client, which is the one directly related to this post, and WordPress core abilities. This was created when? Open 6 weeks ago. An interesting part about this ticket is that it defines a set of core abilities, because in WordPress 6.9 what we had was we had the API for abilities. This means that we had the methods and the classes that we could use in order to define our own abilities, to define the categories for those abilities, the methods to call those abilities, but there were no core abilities defined. So this ticket suggests exactly that WordPress provides a set of built-in abilities that then we can maybe expose as tools via the MCP adapter. So these are the proposed core abilities. So we will come back to this later, and there's actually a pull request that we can check. Let me have a quick look at this. So the code. So here we have a lot of core abilities with a specific find post, for example. If we look for this, we can see all update post. There are only 5 defined here. And this is a category. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 abilities are proposed. I guess that, and the ticket proposed more. Well, we can check this ticket later, but it's very interesting to see how these core abilities are defined. And then, so here we define the category and here the abilities. Okay, this is interesting, but let's check this a little bit, because this is like one of the big new things coming in WordPress 7.0, which is the WP AI client. So this proposes merging the WP AI client into WordPress core for WordPress 7.0. WP AI client is developer infrastructure, a provider agnostic API for WordPress code to call generative AI models via a consistent interface, with WordPress integrations for HTTP transport, event handling, caching, credentials, and a browser-friendly REST JS layer. This is interesting. So it defines some REST endpoints, but regarding JavaScript, I need to check what's offered here. We can do a little diagram before we continue. I'm going to save this for later. And with that, we can reset the canvas. So WP API client. What does this mean? This means that WordPress 7.0 will provide this layer called WP AI client, this goes here, and the background is black. Yeah. So this is the WP AI client, which will allow our WordPress to connect with other models such as GPT or Gemini or others. So if I do this, for example, well, open AI OpenAI Anthropic and Google. Then we can say here maybe GPT, and here we can say Sonnet, and here Gemini. So these are the models that we can interact with from our WordPress installation. So we can say something like this. We can establish here this. Because I need stroke needs to be this one. Yeah. And in order to interact with these models, we need some credentials. And that's one of the things that WP AI client will manage. So there will be an internal management of the credentials. There will be an internal management of the credentials, which is credentials. Then caching is interesting because on every request, so let's imagine I have here my plugin. Let's imagine I have here my plugin. Okay, this is my plugin. And from my plugin, I do I want to get a text, for example. Get text from AI with a specific prompt. This is the functionality that I have from my plugin. So with this feature that right now is offered via a plugin, my plugin will be able to call a specific method of the WPA client this credentials layer will be more close to it. But there will be a cache here. There will be a cache here. A cache. Because maybe I have done the same request before and I can avoid making this request to the models. But if the request has not been done, then it goes to here, it applies the proper credentials and it does the proper request, and then it gets and then it gets returned to the plugin. So we have WP AI client managing cache, managing credentials. What else? Well, HTTP transport, this is something that is specific of this communication between the models and how the responses are done, and this is the area HTTP transport. HTTP transport. This is something that is managed directly by the... So the thing is that this plugin or this feature dice, esto parece condensador de flujo. So yeah, someone says that this looks like a flux condenser. Is that the word in English? But yeah, this diagram, what I'm trying to explain is this new feature coming in WordPress 7.0. That is the WP AI client. So with this feature that right now is available as a plugin, we will be able to communicate from our WordPress with external models, and this feature will encapsulate a lot of things that otherwise we would need to manage on our own. For example, the credentials. Every request to models require usually an API key, and this feature will manage directly the credentials. It will provide a way to enter the credentials, but it will also store them so they are automatically applied. Then it will provide a cache system, so the second time we do the same request, we get a response directly from the cache. Other thing that it provides is the communication with the models that can be done in different ways, and one of the ways is HTTP transport, and this is something that is provided by this layer. Event handling, I don't know exactly what this is referring to. I guess it refers to when we do the request, it takes time to get a response, so this takes time. This takes time. So when this arrives, there's an event. I need to check, but I would say it's referring to this. And this event calls the original function with the response. I guess it should be something like that. And a browser-friendly REST JS layer. So there are some endpoints available defined by this feature. Okay, providing this foundation in collaboration with the Abilities API. This is already part of core. Will make WordPress ready for AI both as a consumer and as a tool. I think this phrase is super powerful. I'm going to put it here. Can somebody tell me what does it mean? Because I think it's super powerful, the meaning of this. I'm going to put it this. Well, the idea is that with the Abilities API, we were able to expose the capabilities of WordPress so we could call them from an agent. And that's the part as a tool. So as a tool, okay, background this, and this. So this refers to the Abilities API. This refers to the Abilities API. in combination with the MCP adapter. So this refers to this. But then as a consumer, this refers to the WP AI client. So in this workflow, WordPress is a consumer. We are consuming models. But with the Abilities API plus the MCP adapter, we expose tools that can be used by other agents. So that means that from our agent, from Cloud Code or from ChatGPT or from whatever, we can access the capabilities of our WordPress. We can call these specific capabilities. And this is what's coming in WordPress 7.0. So this merge does not ship any AI providers or automatically enable AI calls. This is important because it provides the infrastructure to do these calls, but it doesn't provide direct access to AI models. We need to enter our API key in order to get access to our models. Without explicit configuration and explicit calling code, WordPress will not set prompts or data to any external service. So this specific feature will provide the credential system, so we can enter the credentials, and it will provide the API so we can do the specific calls, but it won't directly call to any model. And one of you may say, hey Juanma, this is really nice, but I want to see code. I want to see this in action. And lucky enough, I was checking this feature a few streams ago, and I think I have a demo somewhere. So let me check. Where do I have it? So if we go here, I think in projects, in my streams folder, I have here, and if I go to projects, and if I go to 2026, and if I go to PHP client demo stream, this is the demo. So this is a plugin using this feature, the WordPress AI client. Right now, it's available as a composer package. So here you can see how I'm using a composer package. And then here in the PHP code, well, if you want to have a look at this code, it's available here. So we're going to here in my streams repository. This is a repository that I use to compile all the resources I use during the streams and the projects. So here in projects 2026 PHP AI client, I'm going to paste this into the chat. And then what I can do is open a studio. I can open a studio app. I have several, well, I'm going to okay, this one, test, latest. We can come here to item, then we can go to WP content, plugins, and what you can do is to symlink the project that I have in this other location. Streams, projects, 2026, PHP. And now I have it here. So now when I open WP admin, in plugins, I have here my PHP AI client test. This is actually a WP AI client. So we can be more accurate by doing this. If we refresh WP AI client test, we can activate it. So this is the same functionality that will be included in WordPress 7.0. This is the idea. Once we have that activated, and in WordPress 7.0 this will be automatically enabled, we will have this enabled. So here in settings, let me see if there's something missing here. Because what we should have is a page here to enter the credentials here in settings, actually, with this activated. Okay, I think I know why. If I go to PHP, yeah, the thing is that it has a composer.json, but I didn't install the dependencies, so I need to do composer install. And now we are actually getting the composer package that will be auto loaded when I use it here, and now is when I should have these AI credentials. So this is the credentials layer that this is the credentials layer. So it provides a way for the users to enter the API key, and it provides also specific methods. So this init method is the one that registers this page for the credentials, and then we have these methods to call different things. For example, we can prompt something and generate text. In order to do that, we need to add the credentials, and we can do that, for example, here this is my OpenAI key, and if I go here, and if I do WP shell, I should be able to call directly the functions that I have defined here. For example, demo text generate. So let's say lyrics of a song about WordPress, a pop song about WordPress. Generate text. So this call is this. We are defining a function or plugin using the API that is provided by this feature, because it's the first time. Well, the cache in this case is not applied, because I guess we will get a different response every time, but it will cache maybe some other things. So what it will do is it will use the credentials that I entered to do a request to OpenAI, and I will get the response in this function where I can do something. In this case, I'm just returning the text. So let's try that. Let's just try this. Okay, it takes some time because it needs to do the specific request. Okay, this was the other prompt. That was the one it was loaded when I loaded the WP shell. So I need to exit and enter again, so the new code is loaded, and now I will get the lyrics for a song about WordPress. Theory. We'll see. Yeah. So here we have Friday night, I'm on my dashboard glow, new ideas and a fresh new flow. So yeah, here we have this. We can also do calls and get an image by using the, instead of generate text, we can do generate image, and we can say an image of a streamer doing a live stream about WordPress on a Friday afternoon. So the thing is, there are some, when we request images, there are some things to take into account. For example, the timeout. If it's too short, we will get a timeout error. So images take more time, and we need to extend the default timeout. And then also what we get is an image in base 64 format. So we need, this is not AI related or WP AI client related. This is just code to store that image in my file system and generate both a path for the file name and a URL for the file for the image. So this is my prompt. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get out and WP shell. I'm going to get out, clear WP shell, and we can call this function. This will require some more time, but we will get an image. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to WordPress, to the WP AI client, and I'm going to ask some questions. For example, no. Explain me what caching is managed by this package. What is it storing? Under in which situations? In the meantime, we can ask these questions to understand. So the caching managed by this package is a PSR16 cache adapter, no idea what this is, that bridges the provider agnostic SDK to WordPress object cache. Okay, using the cache group WP AI client. Okay, it stores whatever the underlying SDK chooses to cache, provider metadata, model lists, or AI responses. Well, that's something that we could cache. This is interesting because sometimes the first result is good enough. So maybe you want to cache the results and you don't need to generate them every time. That will save you from extra requests that you may not want to have because they will cost you money. We support bulk operations. The adapter is registered and okay. What is stored? The adapter itself does not dictate what is cached. It provides the mechanism. The SDK may cache provider metadata, model lists, or generation results. in the JavaScript layer, metadata is cached separately in Redux store. So we have a Redux store here. But I'm not sure if I'm... let me check. We can come here to inspect, and we can come here to Redux. We have core abilities, but we don't have any other stuff here. Yeah, I think we will need to enable something else. Okay, let's focus. Let's go back to here. We have the image. Remember, we asked to generate an image of a streamer doing a live stream about WordPress in a Friday afternoon. Hey, not bad. This is the this is the file name, but this is the URL. Yeah. Not bad. Friday, WordPress. I like it. So yeah, imagine implementing the code to automatically generate featured images for your posts based on the content on the post, something like that. You can even use AI to generate a prompt for the image based on the content of the post. So yeah. So yeah, we are consumers of extra models. So this merge does not ship any AI providers or automatically enable calls without explicit configuration and explicit calling code. WordPress will not send prompts or data to any external service. Site owners will be able to install plugins to enable usage of specific AI providers built on top of this foundation, which is what we have here. We have a plugin that implements functionality on top of that foundation. Purpose and goals: provide a stable provider-agnostic AI client foundation in core with seamless integration with the Abilities API. So going back to our diagram, we have here the AI client foundation in core. This will be available in core with seamless integration with the Abilities API, because both will be part of this. We can implement whatever we want, because for example, imagine at the end an ability is just a way to encapsulate a specific callback by defining a schema for both the input and the output. But at the end, it's a function that will be called. So this function, we can have a WordPress instance with a plugin, with credentials, and we can have specific abilities that make use of this API in order to do some requests or something. So yeah, this can be interconnected. So from an external agent, we can call our WordPress that will trigger a call to an external model, will receive the response, and it will return the enhanced response to the agent. Reduce duplicated SDKs, setting pages by centralizing common infrastructure, transport of storage, prompt invocation, access controls. Enable plugins to detect availability and gracefully disable AI features when no model is configured. Yeah, this is something that is provided internally. Non-goals. This one provides bundled credentials. We need to have our own API keys. No end user AI assistant. We will need to implement this functionality if we want. And no product level experiences. So it will be just the foundation, the API, so we can do things. Proposed scope. PHP API plus prompt builder. A WordPress-friendly API to construct prompts and invoke model capabilities. The underlying PHP AI client will be bundled as an external library, while the WordPress-specific wrapper code will become a direct part of core. So yeah, this package depends on this PHP AI client, which is WordPress agnostic. I mean, it can be used in any PHP project. A consistent interface, so hosts, site owners can choose providers via plugins, and plugins that use AI can remain vendor neutral. So the idea here is that we can use a different provider in a transparent way, because this layer, the WP AI client, is in charge of selecting the specific provider that is best for the task to do. A REST-backed JS API for browser context. WP admin. Okay, so this is the track ticket, but there's no pull request. Is this? Okay, let's check. Call for feedback and testing. Feedback is welcome via comments on this proposal or on the track ticket, which has been opened for this change. This was on like 3 days ago. In particular, feedback is needed for: is the REST.js service area and capability model appropriate for long-term support? Any missing code requirements for transport errors or credential storage? As of now, there is no pull request yet. Okay, so we will wait for this. Please follow the track ticket to be notified when a pull request has been opened. Here are the steps you will need to follow for testing. How can I subscribe? Watch this ticket. Okay. I will get notified when there's something. How to test this? It says apply the core PR, install a test build, or utilize the WordPress Playground instance from the PR, and confirm the admin credentials UI is access limited. So that means that any other user, okay, I think we can check this because I have here have here several. Okay, I'm going to edit this, and the role is going to be an editor. This is, who is this? Destin. We have access to AI credentials as admin, but if I go to the list of users and I switch to Destin as an editor, now I don't have access to the credentials, which is good. And now if I switch back to the admin, okay. So this, the admin credentials UI is access limited, okay. Configure a provider or register a provider integration as needed. Run a minimal prompt test. Server side, a small MU plugin snippet, and browser side JS API verifying capability checks. I guess that this will be part of the, let me see, if we go to WP AI client, so here's the JavaScript part, but I'm not sure that this is enabled automatically. Here it is. Load the JavaScript API optional. This is what was missing in my code. Okay, so I'm going to do this. And if I check here the network and the JavaScript files, WP So yeah, I think that in vendor WP AI client, here I have the bundle, so index asset and the index.js. So in Q script WP AI client. So I guess that this this is the source of the TypeScript, but at some point there should be a register script, finding folder, register. Register script, AI client, okay, and here I should be able to load that. But I think it's failing because of some. Hey, Brendan, how you doing? I'm checking here the WP AI client. Well, Brendan and I met the other day. It was a pleasure to meet you, Brendan. And we were talking about all this AI stuff, and we talked about this feature and this composer package as well. But here I'm having an issue because what it says, not found. So the index.js, let me see if I can copy the URL. And maybe I can, I'm going to add here a note. This is in vendor WordPress WP AI client. So this is vendor WordPress WP AI client, and in the build we have the index. So the index is there, but I guess that because we have sim linked this is not working super well. So what I'm going to do is it's not here. I'm going to Studio. I'm going to the terminal from Studio. Here I'm going to go to content, plugins, and here I have the sim link, which I'm going to remove. And what I'm going to do is to move, or to copy all the folder, which is in, I have it in another place, but it's my streams project, projects 2026, and it's this PHP. Okay. And now I have here the PHP. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to open this in cursor. Okay. Now this is not sim linked. This is now part of the WordPress installation. So let's try this again. Let's try this again. I go to plugins, deactivate, activate. And the network, I reload. And now the JavaScript is properly loaded. So that means that maybe we have the Redux store. Oh, there's no Redux store. But maybe in WP we have something related to AI. What we can do is maybe we can ask DeepWiki. WP AI client. WP AI client. So, there it is, AI client. Okay, So now, because we have the credentials in the server via REST API, we should be able to do requests. This is super interesting because this is the foundation of creating an assistant here in WordPress. We can create the UI that whenever we enter a prompt, it internally calls this function, we'll call the REST API, and we can get these responses. So we can just say this. Write a haiku about WordPress. And if I call it again, I will get a different one. Nice. What else? Image generation. Okay, in JavaScript. Interesting. Okay, let's try this. Image file will contain it will contain the image in base 64. Then we need to convert it. Okay, of course, because I think it needs some time. Okay. Let's start again. First, image file. So what we can do is check this request, which is here. This is the REST API. In fact, we can check the specific endpoints that are registered. WP AI, Uber, P1. Yeah, these are the endpoints that are registered by this package. Generate is supported, and as you can see, generate is the central point where everything happens. Operation timeout. Yeah, that's the thing. This is the same error that happened on the server. We need to increase the timeout, and I don't know if we can do that, but this is a good excuse to check this prompt. I think it will be similar. So here I was doing this prompt, but before doing the request, I was tweaking the request so the timeout could be increased. But if we check the code here, if we go to src and we look for the specific method, which is generate text or maybe prompt, I guess it's prompt because this will return an object, and that object. Okay, let's ask our friend DeepWiki. Let's ask our friend DeepWiki. I'm going to copy and paste this. No, because I want to I want to generate an image. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy this. And then given a request like this one to get an image from an external model, I'm actually getting a timeout error. How can I extend the time allowed to get a response from the model? In JavaScript. From JavaScript. Because we know how to do that from PHP. Yeah. Using request options. Okay, so let's tweak this. And let's start again. I'm going to reload. So now I'm going to do the same request, but I'm going to increase the timeout to the same 2 minutes. It will take more time. At some point, this generate pending. At some point, we will get a response. And then we can try to see the image. What else? Advanced usage, JSON output and temperature from PHP. From PHP, we can use an schema. So list 5 popular WordPress plugins with their primary category. Using temperature. Do you know what a temperature is in models? We're going to try this. So the temperature, as far as I know, indicates how free you leave the model to be in its responses. So the lower the temperature, the more deterministic, and in theory, the less it hallucinates. I think that's more or less the idea. But also the responses are less creative. So we got another error. Operation too slow. Operation too slow. Okay, let's expand this to 180. No, not here. It's here. So we are going to reload. And we are going to 3 minutes. And the JSON response schema is that. This is interesting because we can prompt something and we can also specify the specific format we want the response to have. For example, we are asking things, but we want, okay, the response, give it to me in a specific object, in a specific JSON format. So we want the plugin name and the category. Okay, let's see. This works better now. Okay, with the images from the client, I'm getting errors. I don't know if this is reported here as are there issues. No. Well, let's continue checking this. Let's check one more thing and then we can move to other stuff. For example, I think this is interesting. So we can define here a schema. Use this one. And also, one thing that I think is interesting to check is that I think this will work the same from the client. No, no, only in the admin. This is good to know. No, only in the admin. We define here a schema. We get a JSON. JSON schema name. Type array. So I need a name. Okay. Let's try to add a name here. The schema name. My schema. Missing required parameter. JSON schema. You know what? What we can do is copy object and we can ask the repository. I'm getting this error when I try to apply a schema to the response of the model. Can you tell me what are the minimal properties I need to define in the schema in order to work? Okay, but this is I need to specify when I try to apply a schema to respond to the model from JavaScript. From JavaScript. And the error that I'm getting is this one. Well, what I can do is, in order to be more precise, more accurate, I can also so we'll see if now I get the right The error indicates the AI provider expects the schema nested under response, but the client only sends output. So we need to, okay, we are only passing an output schema, but it seems we also need to provide an input schema, which means a schema for how the data the AI provider expects the schema nested under. So my schema should include a type. Let me see. It has a type. It has a type here and a type here. Wiki pages you may want to explore your first AI request. Okay. This is in JavaScript. Okay, we have already tried this. And we have also tried this. So this is the one that is not working. Type object, properties, title, summary. Where plugin name category required. Require plugin name category. Okay. Let's move to. Okay, these are images. Okay, I need to test this more deeply to see why this is failing. But yeah, it seems it works very well. So, summarizing, there's a track ticket open for WordPress 7.0 to add WP AI client, which right now is available in the form of a composer package here in this URL. So this is the URL of the repository. This is the URL of the track ticket. What else? And this is more or less what it will provide. So we need to wait for the specific pull request that is not added yet, as stated here. As of now, there is no pull request yet, but we can follow the track ticket. I've already done that. We can follow the track ticket to get notifications when this changes. Nice. And the other big interesting ticket that is planned for WordPress 7.0 is this one. Quoted from issues. WordPress core abilities. As the abilities API is developed for inclusion in WordPress core, we need to define a default set of abilities that will be bundled with it. This proposal outlines a foundational set of abilities intended to be saved useful for the majority of use cases and non-destructive by default. All ability names below follow the established namespace / ability name convention enforced by the API. The core namespace is used to designate that they are part of the WordPress core set. So these are the proposed and this was opened in summer last year. Okay, there are some conversation. Maybe we can ask AI to summarize this. Okay, so we are all using LLM. So it says, well, I asked ChatGPT for help, mostly we need to optimize it for LLMs. How would you describe the CRUD tools for NCP so that it's optimized for LLM? Okay, this is like some reference guides. Workflow building. And is workflows I thought that workflows were going to be included in WordPress 7.0, but I'm not sure about that. Workflows is like the next stage of abilities. With workflows, we will be able to concatenate abilities and we can create like flows of tasks to be done. So here I see like is there any label? We are here in Gutenberg. Let me say if in the issues there's labels. Is there any? So we have abilities. We have workflows. This is for collaborative workflows. Collaborative workflows, but we don't have, or at least I don't have that under control, the specific tasks for implementing workflows. Okay, let's go back to the task, which is this one. I'm going to, in discussion, status, WordPress abilities, API planning. This is still in discussion, but there's a ticket open. Through 3 weeks ago. We have a proposal for the core post management abilities at WordPress. Let's see this. Add WordPress core post management abilities. So, okay, so only these 4 abilities. This PR adds core post management abilities for the WordPress abilities API. Create post, get post, find posts, and update post. That means that there will be built-in abilities defined in WordPress to interact with our posts, whether we want to create new ones or to update new ones or to find or to get the details of a specific post. I guess this is an initial PR that once is approved, the other ones will be faster to be incorporated. So the idea of this PR is to get feedback if this is the right direction for the post management abilities. Test plan, so this is a pull request, and we can test. Open the browser console, the following examples. Okay, maybe we can try this in Playground. Test this pull request with WordPress Playground. Let's try this. So this will load. WordPress with this specific pull request. And if we go, okay, then we need to choose here. Oh, we don't have access to the WP here. Is it here? Okay. So from here, my awesome content. My awesome content, okay. So this has worked. We have been able to run a specific ability called create post, send in some data, which includes the title, the content, and the status, and some metadata. And now we should be able to let's load this again. lots of errors here. But what I'm going to do is const insert post response. Okay, because we need to, this is a thing, because with Playground in the browser there are like different layers of iframes, and we need to choose the right iframe in order to access the main WP object. Okay, so now we have this, we can do this. Await. So this is a promise that will be resolved at some point. If we go to the network, we should see here this post status 100 and insert post response contains the ID, which is the 5. If we go to posts, we can see this is the one and this is the 5. This is the one that we have created by awesome content. Perfect. And then we can check that get post retrieves posts by ID. For example, our post is number 5. So if we come here and we say post number 5, we have this ability get post, and here we have the specific post we are requesting. Core find posts. Queries work with nested meta queries, tax query, and date query. Okay, so we can create posts with the following structure. And with tags, and then we should be able to find these ones. I'm not going to do this, but it's a good exercise. But what I'm going to do is update post using so we can come here and I can say ID 5. And if we go to post number 5, we should see the new. So this PR, so this works. We have tested this and this. And now what we can do is check the code a little bit, because it's not too long. So we have registers. There will be abilities, class, posts, abilities. There will be in core a folder called abilities and different classes for the different abilities. So registers core post abilities. This is a utility class to encapsulate the registration of post related abilities. Okay, available public post types. Ability registration. So we have registered and we will register the different abilities: create post, get post, update post, and find posts. So register, create post. Here is where we use the register ability. WP register ability, create post. This is the object we use to define everything. It has a label, a description, an input schema. So when we created the post, the data we provided was this. Input, it had post type and meta. So the input schema is properties post type, array merge. So we merge this post type and then all the post fields schema. Self post fields schema. Post fields schema. Shared input schema properties for post fields. And how is this field? Okay, there are more properties, but here we only have post type, which is the one post type. Post. Okay. Permission callback. Okay, several check-ins and then execute callback. This is actually the callback that inserts the post. Si no existe if the post type doesn't exist, we return an error. Well, we do some check-ins and we return errors. Post equal get post. Okay, so we create the post, then we check if the post has been properly created, and if it hasn't, we return an error indicating that the post created but it couldn't be loaded. Category and meta showing rest. That's why we have the endpoint. What I don't understand is this self maybe I can ask Copilot to explain me this. Copilot. Post output schema. No content changes are I'm sorry, but there was an error. Please try again. Okay. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to say, okay, pilot, display me this. I want to understand well, not really for the taxonomies. I'm more interested in this part. It's input schema. Input schema. I want to understand what is being merged here exactly. More specifically, what it contains the post fields schema and in which part of the code this is filled with data. The post fields schema. The post fields schema is populated in the init method. In the init method. So we have register. We have register. And in the init, okay, here it is. Post output schema. Post fields schema. The post fields schema. Okay. So these are like the common, this is what is merged. I understand. And here are the other properties we have used in the call. For example, title, content, status, and meta. Meta, status, content, title, perfect. And title is the post type, because I understand, because the post type can be a page, can be different, and we want that to be defined in there. Although maybe it could also be defined here, because if this is about posts abilities, well, I don't know. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, so there's this track ticket, and there is a conversation about this as well. Conversation. This is the proposal. Okay, let me Okay. What are the key highlights of the conversation in this pull request? Are there any actionable conclusions? Okay, so it's getting the comments, and with this we are going to finish the stream once we get more information about this. Okay, based on the pull request conversation, here are the key highlights and actionable conclusions. Just Levin questions whether the peer duplicates functionality that already exists in WP insert post and WP update post, particularly around hook execution and permission checks. This appears in multiple comments suggesting this is a significant concern. Okay. A major discussion centers around the flat versus nested schema structure for defined post ability. Example, instead of separate order by and order at top level, let's them as order by. Naming consistency. Okay, so this point suggests the PR needs refinement in architecture, avoiding duplication with core functions, API design, better schema organization, and consistency, naming conventions, validation, placement before merging. So we are what is the we are 30 days before the beta, and I would say that it needs to be addressed in the following 13 days. So hey. So I'm not sure if this is going to be finally included. What are the current tags? As patch, it has, but it needs I would say as patch, but it needs changes requested. Reporter feedback, that feedback, the review, second opinion, close need testing, has test info. Yeah, I'm not sure what would be, but it has patch, but there are some things that need to be changed. So we need to find a proper needs testing. Workflow keywords. Okay, I'll check which one can we use. Hey. Okay, so that could be all for today. I think that we have fulfilled our promise to explore what's coming in WordPress 7.0 regarding AI. We have focused the stream today in two main features: the WordPress core abilities and the WP AI client, because the other ones are either bugs or some enhancements that I don't think they are like too big. So yeah, I think these are the big ones. So yeah, hope this has been useful, and I will add the resources to the streams repository, which is let me see here. I will add the details, and yeah, see you next week. I will continue testing all these AI features and also checking what's coming in WordPress 7.0 in the following. So have a great weekend, and yeah, see you in other streams. Bye.